morning, folks. What you're looking at is a tank full of ghosts of dead plants and nightmares. This is my graveyard tank, which was not intended to be a graveyard tank. I'm going to break this down today. I've got a rare day off, and I'm going to clean this up. This was my first planted tank try gone wrong. I've got a video out there on the initial setup. I chose the wrong plants, the wrong substrate, and this is what happened. Been procrastinating and letting it sit here, and I haven't done anything with it, so I'm jumping into it all today, and I'll take you through the process. I've never done a complete breakdown, but I'm going to show you guys what I researched and how to do it, and take you through the whole thing. What happened was I chose plants. There's an Eco Complete in the background there, and then there's some pool filter sand up front. I had siliconed in a plastic barrier. I got real fancy. It was looking really, really good until I chose the wrong plants that wouldn't sit in the back. They were a little too delicate. They started breaking down. I thought everything would be fine. I was trying to cycle the tank, and just one thing led to another. And this is just a nasty, nasty disaster. The graveyard tank, there's nothing in there. I mean, you see the driftwood and rocks, but nightmares and ghosts of dead plants. So I'm going to drain this and get it out to the yard. We're going to do this work out in the yard, but that is pretty gross, isn't it? So here we go, folks. And welcome to the backyard, folks. I think anybody that fish lives here, see that hanging on the tree, I've got a gravel vac that I had to clean before. Not too ornamental. I'm going to take that down in a little while. But before we get into getting the tank done, I'm going to do some preparation first and get a few things ready before I use up all of my buckets on this project today. What I'm going to do first is make a glass cleaner, and I'm going to make this out of vinegar and water. And what I'm going to do is take, and what you want is distilled white vinegar, regular white vinegar, half a cup of white vinegar. That's going to go into a half a gallon of water. I'm going to fill that up, and what you can do is buy a spray bottle at any of your local stores, Target, Walmart, wherever you can find one. I'm going to fill that up, and that's going to give me a good glass cleaner to use before I get into the bleach. This looks pretty nasty. The tank's not even out here yet, but just absolute graveyard. Part of the job. I think if you're in this hobby long enough, you're going to do some cleanup work like this. So I'm going to prepare my solution first, my glass cleaning solution that I might use just to clean up other things inside the filter and other hard to get to areas. And we're all filled up there. So we've got this is a half a cup of vinegar, just regular distilled white vinegar in a gallon of water. I'm sorry, a half gallon of water. So half gallon of water, half a cup distilled pure white vinegar, and now you've got actually a nice window cleaner here that you can use. Glass cleaner for your aquarium, you want something that's non-toxic, that's not going to harm the fish, but you could also use this at home just on your regular household glass. Folks, let me show you how well this works. This is the top of the glass on that 10-gallon graveyard, and if you take this and take some of this white vinegar and water combo, I hope you can see this spot right here. This is particularly one of the bad ones, but if you use that with a towel and go over it, it comes right off for you. So just spray this on. This is a non-toxic way to clean this glass where it's not harmful to your fish. Now, it's been ages since this has been cleaned, so this is going to take a few times, but see how that gets everything off and wipes that all off. There it is, folks, in all its glory. Drain this, got it out of the house, and now I'm going to take everything out and kind of scoop out all the substrate. There's some little, looks like there's some little shrimp still alive. How, I don't know, but in the corner of the tank. So we're going to scoop all this out, get to cleaning. I do have a bleach solution that I'm going to use as kind of a last resort. It's a 10% solution, 1 part bleach, 9 parts water. And if I need to do that to clean some of these rocks off, I will. I might just boil them later and just boil them in water. I'm trying to avoid using bleach. I'm going to try to do all this just with the distilled white vinegar and some good elbow grease and a good sponge. Here we go. All right, first step done. So what I did is I got all of the pieces of driftwood, little random rocks, took that out, and then I just put some gloves on and I scooped out all the substrate by hand for lack of a shovel that I want to use for this, but it's all in here. Combination of pool filter sand and Eco Complete. That had some laterite in it, but that is done. And that was a dirty job, but my divider stayed intact. And this is something that I put together originally with this tank. I had this idea that, that you'll see in another video I did, that I was going to put a silicone barrier in. I'd put some substrate in the back, sand in the front, get all fancy, and it did hold. So I'm going to try now to scrub this guy out just with a sponge and some white vinegar. Really try to get it cleaned up. And my goal today is really just to get this tank clean. And here's the final product, folks. This is about an hour and a half, 2 hours later. Nice and clean. It's like a brand new tank. Looking really good. My silicone barrier I decided to take out because I'm going to start over. There's a little bit of silicone still on the sides, but big deal. I'm going to leave that in there. It's going to be covered with substrate anyway, so there you go. Now, one thing, the water and calcium deposits were so tough on the top. Rather than use the vinegar water solution, I just went with straight vinegar and just did a straight, just poured the vinegar, the distilled white, in the tank and scrubbed that, just a regular sponge. No bleach, avoided it, didn't need it. There really aren't any bugs or anything in there I needed to kill. So the vinegar did the job, just getting the glass clean, scooped everything out. About 4,000 calories later, and 2 hours later, we're looking at a nice clean tank, which was the goal for today. So when you do this, that vinegar solution is great. Either use distilled white vinegar. There's another thing you can use. It's really good. It's called Barkeeper's Friend. I wasn't able to find any, but Google it. Barkeeper's Friend. It looks like Comet. It's a powder that you spray on. It's non-toxic and non-toxic to the fish. But if you can find it, I think you can get it at Target and most stores. I just couldn't find it when I ran it out this morning, but Barkeeper's Friend does a really good job. So nice clean tank. That's the first step and really what I wanted to get done today. Next, I've got this issue to deal with all this old driftwood, all these old rocks. These are going to have to be cleaned and boiled. And with the rocks and all that, I might put it into bleach. I might bleach all this stuff in a 10% bleach solution first, and then take that and once it's been bleached, then boil it and really get whatever's crawling on there, if there's anything crawling on there. I don't think there is, but really get that stuff off. So that's the next step. Then I got to deal with my filters, my light, everything else that I had on here that was pretty dirty. So first big step today, just getting that tank nice and clean. And it's just like, this is what vinegar does, folks. And a lot of elbow grease. Now, for hard to get areas like this top, which was really caked in stuff, I'm using straight vinegar, but you can get a scraping tool. You can go get this at any hardware store, paint store, and they use this. I've got vinegar here on the sponge, but once you get it wet, you can go ahead and for the really crusty, tough parts, you can use this to scrape it right off, and it'll come right off of the top. People also use razor blades for this, which is a good idea. I just didn't have any lying around, but see, once you get everything wiped down, and I'm going to have to go and rinse this, but it starts to look pretty good. This was caked in orange prior to, so razor blades work really well, or just get a scraper and use a tool like that. With this, again, I went with just the straight vinegar because it was so thick, but came off no problem. You got a brand new top. And there's the final product. That's all in the day's work right there. Took about 3 hours start to finish, bringing it outside and getting everything scooped out, cleaning, but perfectly brand new aquarium. I also cleaned out my heater, extensions, and thermometer with the vinegar. The filter I got to get to a little bit later and get that done. This is all I had time for today, but brand new. 4,000 calories later, but it's worth it. So I got a brand new tank. I'm going to start all over, do this one right, but there's how to clean it, folks. And if you can find that Barkeeper's Friend, this probably would have gone a little bit faster for me, but all good. And one of the last steps, we've got a driftwood rock pebble stew that we're brewing up. I've got this pot. I only use this for fish stuff, but it's filled up and it's getting ready to boil. It's been on here a while. There's a lot of water in here. All of that stuff out of that 10-gallon tank I'm going to take and boil. I'm not going to use the bleach. I'm just kind of anti-bleach. I know it's safe after it cleans up, but I'm just nervous about using it. So in here I've got all the rocks and the driftwood and everything from that tank. I'm going to boil this probably for an hour. That'll kill anything and get anything off of it. and then I'll be able to start brand new. So all in a day's work, folks. There's a little bit on cleaning your tank, breaking one down, and starting over, which if you've been in the hobby for a while, you're going to probably do 1 or 2 times. I'm just glad this one wasn't a 40-gallon or 50-gallon tank. God forbid, just a little 10 that I could take outside and carry around. So that's it, folks. I'm going to do a rebuild on the 10, and I will bring that to you when it's ready and done. You guys have a great weekend.